Hi, it's James from LearnLogicPro.com. Today we're going to look at the tools inside Logic Pro 8. So if you will notice on the upper right corner of the Arrange window, you'll see a pointer and a marquee tool. To go in there, you just simply click these buttons and the full list of tools come up for both sides. The difference between these is if you hold the mouse here and you hold down the command key, it will toggle between the tools that are selected here. So if it's the pointer and the marquee, obviously it toggles between those. Again, the command or Apple key. If I change this to the pencil tool, it'll toggle between those two tools. Okay. So let's look at the pointer tool. So first of all, I'm actually just going to use the pencil tool and put some pretend regions here on the timeline. And back to the pointer tool. Now the pointer tool is going to be the most used tool. And so, as you see, I was able to highlight sections with the tool. If you move to the back part of the region, you'll notice that you get a cutting tool where you can actually adjust the size of the region. If you do it up at the top, you'll get a looping tool. I'm not a huge fan of the looping, but that's okay. A lot of GarageBand users are associated to it. The nice thing is the cut tool also works from the front as well, which is quite nice. Moving along, we went to the pencil tool. The pencil tool is quite good if you're putting points along. It's great for use in automation if you want to draw in some automation. But that's the basic use of the pencil tool. Eraser tool I don't use very often. I just hit delete, but it basically erases regions along the timeline. Text tool. Now this text tool is quite good. You can click on any region and change the name. Say if this was base, you can change the name to that. Now I hit escape just now, and you'll notice I do it just by default because I've done it so much, but if you just hit escape, you'll get that same dialog box, but it'll be a floating, and you'll notice that you have numbers as well. So if you hit escape and then number 4, you'll notice it defaults straight to that toolbar for text, the text tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a few regions. I'm just holding Option to copy these. And I'm going to duplicate them here. Now, the reason why I've done this is I wanted to show you that with the text tool, you can select these and you can actually highlight and change all of these, and you could say lead. You notice they all change, so it's a multi-select. Okay. Moving along, scissor tool obviously allows you to cut. So if I selected that and I drag and cut, it cuts right here. Now if you've got scrubbing turned on in the audio preferences, you will hear the audio scrubbing and the speed of the scrub. But you can see how the cut tool works there. The glue tool is just like the merge tool. If I select these sections and glue them together, it merges them together. You notice if I select all 3 of these, it'll merge them into one section. I just did Command Z to undo that. Continuing down, you have the solo tool. If you want to select on any section, it will solo just that section. You'll notice that it'll actually just play that one section, allowing you to basically listen to this area without anything else playing, and that's essentially what soloing is. Muting allows you to mute particular parts without having to delete or remove them from the arrange. It's a good way to get an idea of the arrangement with, again, without committing to an actual delete. You can use the mute tool and just mute that section, or you can highlight multiple sections and use the mute tool there as well. Next is the zoom tool. Now there's many different ways to zoom. I'm a key command guy. I like to do control command, and I like to do all my particular zooms. But here you can do this just like almost like Photoshop, where you're zooming right in. Hitting escape twice in the keyboard defaults right back to the pointer. Okay. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. Now I'm using control and the up and down to do my zooming. I prefer to do it that way. Next is the crossfade tool. Essentially, if you have any piece of audio and you drag the tool over the edge of that audio, you'll get a crossfade. If you drag between 2 regions, you get an X fade between those regions. It's a very handy tool for you to simply create crossfades along the timeline. Next is the automation select tool and automation curve tool. Those are specific tools that are used for automation. which is actually covered in the automation video that I presented. So check the automation video for the specific uses of these two tools. The marquee tool is essentially a smart cutting tool. Now I'm going to show the old way. I'm going to go ahead and get back to the scissors, and I'm going to select this. I'm going to select on this piece, and then I'm going to cut. I'm going to select on this piece. I'm going to cut, select in here, and then I'm going to press delete. So that took like 3 or 4 clicks or whatever to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the marquee tool to essentially do the same thing. So I'm just going to highlight that section, and you'll notice that it highlights into this white. Now if I hit delete, it just cuts that right out, which is really very nice. Okay. Now I can go in and marquee multiple sections like that, and I can do a copy command and move the playhead somewhere and actually paste that right in. So it's a really nice cutting option. And I'm going to show you a secret here. If you're using the marquee tool and this drag option, I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm going to say shuffle left. So if I use the marquee tool and I come over here and I highlight this section and I delete it, you'll notice that everything else shuffles down to the left, which is a really useful tool, especially when you're dealing with a situation of audio tracks that are not there. Got a plane flying over. Audio tracks that are, for say, from Pro Tools, and you need to cut that first little section out, or you just want to edit a section and have everything shuffled down to the left. That's what that drag option is, and I'll discuss that more when we get into the specifics of the arrange window. So these are the tools that are available to you in Logic. In Logic 9, actually, we have seen some new tools being added, so we're very excited to show off those, which we'll be making videos next week in the fall time. Thanks very much for tuning in for LearnLogicPro.com. Check our other videos on YouTube.